Good morning, everyone, and welcome into Wake and Take. It's your boy, Jason, and we've got a lot of football to talk about today. Today, we've got some insight into rookie mini camps. Last week, only like 5 or 6 teams had rookie camps. The rest of the teams had it this weekend. I've got some standout performances that we're really just going to talk about, some of the fantasy relevant ones and like articles that were readily available. Some teams are pretty tight-lipped. You know, we've got some stuff to talk about, though. Just you wait. Little late because there was a lot to talk about today. So definitely go ahead and get out your coffee, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome in. Glad to see you, Jason, RV, Snowman, Jeremy, and Anthony here in the chat. Jeremy, no, RV. I'm sorry if your coffee got a little too cold. Jeremy as well. As I said, today's a rookie minicamp episode. I spent really the past 2 hours trying to find what I could on rookie minicamps, literally up until 10. And then 10 was like, all right, we got it. We got what we got. We have to finish the rest of the production to get going. So sorry I'm late, but we should be good. Lots to talk about today. Let's go ahead and talk about rookie minicamps. And we'll start with the Patriots. So the way this episode is going to work is kind of similar to last week. I found some quotes, found some highlights, found all sorts of things. So we'll talk about some quotes from Drake Maye and what we need to know about his performance at the Patriots minicamp. The first thing that needs to be said is that it sounds like he was pretty underwhelming, really, because as you see here from these quotes, this is from head coach Jerod Mayo. Look, he has a lot to work on, but I have no doubt that he'll put the time in. You didn't see him out here yesterday, but he was here all night trying to get on the same page as everyone else. And then Drake Maye was asked, it's been good. I think kind of the first day, I've been feeling it out and getting more reps. That's all something new. Just getting more reps, feel pretty good, but I've got to keep working. He talks about how the offensive coordinator, Alex Van Pelt, is helping him a little bit just because he used to be a quarterback. He says he doesn't expect anything right away. He knows that there's going to be a growing side, a mental side to it, so he's understanding. But also, if you're not doing your job, he's going to help you. But that's the best thing you want to see from a coach. Also, Joe Milton has been displaying his cannon-like arm the entire camp as well. But as you hear that, you might say, well, it doesn't really matter. We still just care about Drake Maye. So one of the Patriots articles out there said that Drake Maye was fine and that he was throwing against air with no defenders, had plenty of precise throws, plenty of imprecise ones as well. His misses were mostly placement problems, but there were no W2F moments, just some throws that were either behind receivers or a bit too high when it was over the middle of the field. Essentially, in short, Drake Maye has been, as advertised, a work in progress with all the physical tools to maybe one day approach his ceiling. But again, he is leaving a little bit to be desired, not really making the perfect throws and all that stuff, throwing behind, throwing over, footwork's still bad, but he's working on everything. And he's also connecting a little bit with the wide receivers. So we can move on to that. Here are a couple clips from the Patriots camp of actually Drake Maye throwing to Javon Baker. But as we'll talk about in a minute, it's not like Javon Baker was standing out in any way either. So hold on, let me pull this up. Twitter, am I right? Here we go. So this is Drake Maye throwing it to Javon Baker. Little pocket stuff. Kind of high throw. As you see, Baker has to jump up to get it. I'll play it one more time. But, you know, it is what it is. Also, I mean, like, these are just practice clips and stuff, so it's not like you're going to get, like, massive highlights or anything. Here is the next one. This is actually just Javon Baker doing a little bit of a drill. He looks pretty spry here. Just a nice little break out of his route. Good cutback, jumps back, catches it. Again, thrown a little high, which is, again, we'll see what that means for these receivers. But, again, Drake Maye, as advertised, we'll put quotes around it. Definitely hasn't tapped into a ceiling yet. Definitely still has a lot to work on. And one way to kind of bring that home is to compare him against the next quarterback we'll be talking about. Actually, we'll wait for that because I do want to talk about Javon Baker a little bit and the rest of the players here at Patriots camp. So basically, we'll talk about the wide receivers now. Ja'Lynn Polk and Javon Baker were 1 and 2 in all the receiver reps. Ja'Lynn Polk, the second rounder from Washington, showed precision and burst in his routes and very nice hands throughout. On the other side, Javon Baker had a couple drops on balls he should have handled. And then Gerard Mayo was actually asked about Javon Baker and his social media presence and all that stuff. And Gerard Mayo says, I want these guys to have a personality. I want them to feel free to talk about certain things. We have rules of what to talk about, but once he puts it out there, he has to show it every day on the football field. If not, he's just a talker, and you start to lose the respect of the locker room and stuff like that. So he said it, he's put it out there, and now he has to show us. Some other takeaways from the camp was that actually the catch of the day was made by Jaheim Bell, the 7th-round tight end. He neatly tracked an over-the-shoulder catch on a lofty throw from Drake Maye. Some other insight about Drake Maye, he was actually out there all night trying to get on the same page as everyone else, said head coach Gerard Mayo before Saturday's practice. He said he stayed out there until about 9 o'clock. And Drake Maye was asked about that the next day. Quarterback, you have to know everybody on that side of offense. You got to know all 11, not just what I'm doing. It takes extra time, extra drawing up, extra questions. I'm just trying to get to know it myself, but also to get to know the other guys around me, staying later and getting here early. And he said that he plans to stay on Saturday until 8 or 9 o'clock again as well. That's the best thing about minicamp, getting here around the guys for the first time, getting at a hotel together, watching films, looking at the script, staying late, nothing else to do but play football. So Drake Maye at least has his head on straight, at least, liking the football stuff. Just again, kind of as advertised, as we'll put quotes around it, still looking like a developmental prospect, still much to be desired, still looking like Jacoby Brissett will be out there week 1. So I mentioned I've got a clip. The next quarterback I want to talk about is Jayden Daniels. Here's a little bit of a video, one video of Drake Maye's kind of release versus Jayden Daniels' release at these training camps. So here you go. Check this out. It's pretty interesting. Here we go. So as you'll see, it's about to play in slow-mo, but check this out. Jayden Daniels' release is so much faster than Drake Maye's. His ball is almost caught before Drake Maye's throw has even, made it like finished his throwing motion. Watch it again in slow-mo. So again, Jayden Daniels, he just rips that thing. It's out. And now Drake Maye's is out. And so it's a little bit concerning, again, that Drake Maye still has to put all these things together. It's obviously still a good throw. But Jayden Daniels, his throwing motion looks really good. He's got really, really good zip on the ball. Whereas Drake Maye is kind of just a lofty, just a standard little throw thing, where Jayden Daniels looks pretty good in this clip. And that is actually how he looked the entire time. He has gotten spoken up by his teammates a ton following this rookie camp. Luke McCaffrey said that he's a stud after Friday's camp. And then Ben Sinnott, the tight end, said he's got that it factor that you want in a quarterback. So both of the rookie, offensive weapons that the Commanders drafted have already called him a stud and saying that he's got the it factor. That's really, really good. And then Jayden Daniels talks about it as well. Just the camp in general, how he's learning the playbook, trying to be a sponge, learning as much as possible. He just says it's a blessing and I'm trying to soak it all in. This was my first NFL practice. I was focusing on practice, but the 9-year-old kid in me realizing that his dreams have come true. Now I'm here, but I still have a long way to go. Ben Sinnott goes on to talk about him more as well. The ball placement, the arm talent he has the ability to make every throw. You see it all over the film. He can run, he can extend plays, create explosive with his legs, throw it 80 yards downfield, and create a huge play in the passing game. He's got all the intangibles, and he's a natural leader, a guy who brings his teammates together. I'm just very impressed with who he is and what type of player he is. And Luke McCaffrey speaks about him some more. It's a position that's hard to understand unless you've played it. The biggest thing I've noticed is the communication aspect. He speaks the same language, and that's something going into rookie minicamp you try and get a head start on because it's a brand new language and a brand new system, but he's already got it. Jayden Daniels, again, says that the franchise is eager. The DMV, the fan base, everyone, they want to see wins. They want to see excitement. Hopefully we can go out there and do it as a Commanders franchise. Right now, though, we're just worried about rookie minicamp. So again, Ben Sinnott, Luke McCaffrey hyping him up a ton. Jayden Daniels has looked really, really good. Here's some more clips from his rookie mini camps. A little bit of throwing, courtesy of JP Finley from NBC Sports on Twitter. Check this out. Again, I like McCaffrey a lot. He's He's going to get a nice throw from Daniels here at the end, but it's another good route from Luke McCaffrey. Really good, strong hands. Here's another. Here we go. Jayden Daniels, little play action. Zips it really well down the field, too. You guessed it, not Luke McCaffrey. This one, though, also doesn't go to Luke McCaffrey, but a really nice sideline throw to number 16. Here's another one kind of rolling outside the pocket. And again, just a nice throw to the wide receiver coach on the sideline. And so as it plays again right now, again, just really every single throw he had was a really, really tight spiral zip out of his hands. Like really, really looks good. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to push back against what Luke McCaffrey and Ben Sinnott has said about his practice. Those throws looked really good. He looked really comfortable. And of course he's interviewing well as well. So things are still looking up for Jayden Daniels. As I said, in those highlight clips, a lot of the passes went to Luke McCaffrey. So you might be asking yourself, how is Ben Sinnott looking? Well, here's one clip from Ben Sinnott. It's a little bit of slow-mo action from the Washington Commanders, but you can still see here his route running and all that stuff. So check this out as well. Here we go. It's in slow-mo, and then it speeds up. But I mean, look at that burst from him. He catches it low as someone's kind of hanging on him. It just looks like a tight end. Just genuinely looking the part when you see this clip. You know, obviously nothing special. You can see the release in the clip from earlier too. I'll just echo what I said following the Senior Bowl. Ben Sinnott is a really good tight end. Really, really good route runner, really solid blocker, has really crisp hands, and it's just awesome. Like he looked really, really good at the Senior Bowl, and he's already kind of displaying that here at camp. You know, there's a few quotes out there that he looked pretty good as well. So Ben Sinnott, Luke McCaffrey, and Jayden Daniels all kind of standing out at this rookie minicamp, which is pretty good news for the Washington Commanders. Before we keep looking into these rookie minicamp highlights and quotes, I want to let the Podfather speak to you guys a little bit about Dynasty Deluxe.
This episode is brought to you by PlayerProfiler, the Dynasty Deluxe package. The rankings are the best in the industry. It includes strategy mode where you can say, hey, change the rankings to be win now. Oh, change the rankings to be productive struggle. There's also a draft planner to help strategize where you should take players because the draft planner also includes ADP. There's a trade finder where we look up on My Fantasy League and we see trades that are done, including a particular player. Then there's a trade analyzer where you can plug in draft picks, players, and we assign a lifetime value to draft picks out 5 years. The best thing about our trade analyzer, it can't be gamed with volume. And there's mock draft data to see right now what's the market for player X versus player Y, including in the fall when very few mock drafts are happening. And our Dynasty Guide, the Dynasty Dominator, would cost you $10 on Amazon, but you get it for free with Dynasty Deluxe, and you get our rookie guide for free, a $25 value. So you get all of that for $45. So it's a great deal.
Oh, sorry, guys. I had a really terrible sip of coffee just now. Like, you know, at the bottom of your coffee mug where kind of all the grinds kind of sit there? I just had one of those sips during that commercial. Anyway, apparently I lost sound back there, so I just want to reiterate the point. A lot of Jayden Daniels throws were going to Luke McCaffrey. Looked really, really good over the middle. Demonstrated his strong hands and good route running that I saw at the Senior Bowl. All of the Commanders standing out in this camp, especially Jayden Daniels. Things really, really are looking up for this franchise. It's really, really interesting stuff. I see a question here about from Jeremy. I don't know how it works, but do they get a jersey and a playbook on draft night or just a jersey? I am actually not sure. I assume they might get a playbook, but from what I'm reading, it seems a lot of stuff kind of the first install, if you will, kind of happens at this rookie minicamp, or maybe the voluntary workouts a couple weeks ago. But this one, it seems that, you know, they're kind of already in on the playbook when I'm looking at a lot of these practice stuff. Like they've already been learning it. So I'm not sure if it's truly draft night or like the voluntary workouts, but either way, they do definitely already have the playbook ahead of this. And you know, it varies from team to team. As we can actually, let's go ahead and move. It's further down my show sheet list, but let's actually talk about JJ McCarthy, as this is an interesting segue. Because it seems that JJ McCarthy, which is really interesting, every team, you know, is going to do their thing differently. But the Vikings, it seems, in their first practice, or not practice, meeting? Yeah, okay, here we go. It was not by accident. Let's see. During private workouts with Vikings officials in early April, Coach Kevin O'Connell went through portions of his day one install with McCarthy's schematic aptitude. So even in these like pre-draft meetings, they were kind of going through the playbook a tiny bit. So it seems that at least with the Vikings, they definitely already had the playbook. Like I said, JJ McCarthy learned a little bit of the playbook, the day one stuff, in the pre-draft meeting with the Vikings, which kind of led to him having a really solid camp as well. Here's some highlights. Credit to ThorQ on Twitter, who I believe has appeared here on Player Profiler a few times. Thor Nystrom. Here we go. I made a nice little highlight on, my guy JJ McCarthy. Here it is. Put on the sound. There's still like 30 seconds left of this clip, but I mean, as you can see, first impression is that the number 9 looks really, really good on JJ McCarthy. I'm not going to lie, that number suits him pretty well, but he's got a pretty decent spiral. A couple of these throws had a little bit of wobble to it, but for the most part, it's got some solid spin. His release is a little wide, but he's definitely going to work on this stuff. And it seemed that he had a pretty solid practice, as we'll read, and I'm going to leave it at solid. He definitely still has some stuff to work on, but is looking like he has a command of the offense, which is what we were kind of hoping for to begin with this landing spot. So here we go. Here's basically from all the articles and everything I've learned. It didn't take long for JJ McCarthy to show his competitive chops in the NFL and to also then be completely humbled. On the first day of Minnesota Vikings rookie camp, the Michigan quarterback made a bet with the defense. If he could get through passing drills with 3 or fewer incompletions, then they'd have to run sprints. If he had more than 3 completions, then he'd have to run sprints. Well, you guessed it. JJ McCarthy ended his rookie minicamp sprinting. He threw more than 3 incompletions, but it wasn't like it was bad. Despite a few incompletions and 1 interception during 7-on-7 drills, McCarthy's first day in a Vikings uniform went smoothly. Again, wasn't by accident, as during a private workout in early April, him and Kevin O'Connell had already gone through portions of the playbook, but McCarthy still went on to say, it didn't feel like my first day. I've been going over the offense for a long time now. So being able to go out there and perform and execute, that's new. But it was nothing that was overwhelming or too much. Kevin O'Connell says that he's trying to have the best possible day that he can and then do the same thing tomorrow. This is a process-driven guy and understands that there's a long road ahead of him and that we're just trying to make the incremental gains that will be solidified of how he plays quarterback for a long time. I've been really impressed with him so far and look forward to getting another full day of practice. So again, not looking great, but not looking bad either, which again seems like to be a little bit better than what we're hearing from the Drake Maye side of things, whereas Drake Maye just kind of has a lot to work on. It seems more so that JJ McCarthy is just, more so just getting a little bit more comfortable and it's got to work on a few incompletions, but that's also going to happen when he's throwing to, no one out there. They didn't draft a wide receiver, if I remember correctly. And I doubt that Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, who's still recovering, or Justin Jefferson are out there catching his passes now. So the completion issue, which it doesn't seem like it was too bad, just a little bad, more than 3, is something that'll be worked on with better wide receivers. But either way, looking okay, at least at practice. Some of those clips were pretty solid. Let's go JJ McCarthy. Number 9. Look, really does. Look, you guys in the comments, let me know. Does he actually look pretty good in that number 9, or am I just kind of projecting my Michigan hopes and dreams on this guy? But the number 9 looked pretty good. It felt right. It looked pretty solid. Anyway, Jatavian Sanders and the Panthers minicamp is next. There's not much to say about Jonathan Brooks as he is still recovering, but he does say that he's been taking the rehab of his knee up a notch. He's now 5 months removed from ACL surgery and is still on pace for recovery and maybe going to be back for like true training camp here with the Panthers, but definitely ready for like week 1, it seems. Maybe not full go, but, getting some snaps and out there. Jatavian Sanders is the player that seemed to have gotten the most highlights from this camp, which is pretty interesting. Not that he really did a lot, but it seems like he was just kind of openly available for interviews. That is one thing you need to know about media and how a lot of this rookie camp information becomes available. A lot of it is going to be interview stuff. So if there's a player out there not really doing the interviews or not interviewing well, you're not really going to hear a ton. But Jatavian Sanders was a quote machine, I guess. You're kind of hearing a lot from him. So first off, he says that he wants to be the next Greg Olsen. He wants to be the face of the offense. And then Dave Canales goes on to say that this is a guy that you can move around a little bit and maybe play him in the slot. Jatavian Sanders goes on to say that he really does want to learn this playbook before everyone else, and he kind of wants to be the guy that people can go to ask questions about the playbook that he's studying really, really hard, which is exactly what you want to hear from a tight end, as that is a position that kind of takes some time to learn. The fact that he's hitting the books is good information, and the fact that Dave Canales sees him as a versatile type of tight end is really, really good news as well. So keep your eye on Jatavian Sanders, but then also keep your eye on another surprising standout from Panthers minicamp. As we know, they drafted Xavier Legette in the first round, but Jalen Coker is actually someone that is standing out at this rookie minicamp. Dave Canales comes out and says this: size, instincts, top of route ability to separate, really crafty in zones, knows how to find open spaces, and a little cool run after the catch. He can break some tackles because of the size that he brings and attacks the ball at a high point. The guy really does have a cool skill set that he brings to us. I'm excited to see him get introduced as we start to develop our football, especially in phase 3 OTAs. I'm excited to see what he looks like against NFL talent, but I am really excited about him. So Dave Canales gushing about their undrafted free agent, Jalen Coker, who was a standout at the Senior Bowl and had pretty decent production in college as well. Jalen Coker kind of standing out over Xavier Legette, who also looked okay at the very least. But I just want to say, keep your eye on Jalen Coker. I know that Dave Canales ends that quote saying, I want to see what he looks like against actual NFL talent. But still, the fact that he's impressing against lesser talent is still good. I mean, that's what you want to hear, right? That you don't want to hear that they're just okay against lesser talent. You want to hear that they're standing out, doing all these things right, so that hopefully they can continue to do that against better defense as well. So Jalen Coker standing out. Xavier Legette is doing okay. Here's a quote. Sorry. Coffee grind's coming back. Here's a little clip of Xavier Legette making a nice little grab. That's the end of it. I'll rewind it. Well, it'll just play. There's him breaking out of the catch. Here it is. Going up to high point it. As you can see, it's a little weird. He doesn't catch it super well, but he catches it. It kind of goes through his hands, and he kind of closes it with the back of his hand a little bit. It kind of clamps it with alligator hands. But, he brings it in, high points the ball, catches it, is able to land on his feet, turn around and catch from probably a poorly thrown ball. That is what you want to see. But you would like to see it kind of be a little bit smoother of a catch. As I mentioned to those of you listening on the podcast, he doesn't necessarily catch it at the right point. It seems like he grabs it with his hands a bit too late for it to be like an excellent catch or anything, but he still caught it. And at the end of the day, that's better than not catching it. Xavier Legette was asked a lot about his route running. He says that through the pre-draft process, that's the one thing that everyone was asking him about. So here we go. Xavier Legette's been working on routes. A reporter asked him about it. That was the most important thing to me, to really put emphasis on certain routes that the media was saying I couldn't run and that I wasn't able to run. I felt like that was the most important thing, so I kept working on that a lot. He was asked if he had an ear to the outside criticism, and he said, I don't necessarily worry about what folks say, but a lot of folks were bringing that to my attention. A lot of coach I was talking to were also bringing it up. And so it makes me feel like, why do a lot of folks say this and that? I felt that coaches kind of felt the same. So I felt it was important to put emphasis on making my route running better, making that happen, and being able to show them that I can do that through the process. And if I'm to do it in a Xavier Legette voice, it would be, I felt like the coach was kind of on the side, and it just, the dude goes too quick. I don't know how they were able to actually mention these quotes or glean what he was actually saying, but they did it. And it's just good to hear that he is working on his route running and all that stuff. As I know from the Senior Bowl, he does struggle with separation, not the cleanest route runner in the world, but does still have the strong hands, strong body due to his weight, and can, make those good contested catches because of it. But definitely has a long way to go in his route running. Glad to hear that he expects that, and that's good. So anyway, I see a really good stuff in the comments. So I'm just going to go ahead and move on to Ryan Flournoy propaganda. Why not? Why not go ahead and move on to Ryan Flournoy propaganda? We are here on Wake and Take, ladies and gentlemen, and that's what we're here for. Jeremy Allsbrook says, 3 years ago, there was this guy who stayed after practice and would catch balls from a machine for an hour after everyone else would have left already. I'm a huge fan of work ethic. Thank you, Amon-Ra St. Brown. So we've talked about Drake Maye staying late already to work on some extra stuff. Well, Ryan Flournoy stayed late at Dallas Cowboys practice to work on some extra stuff as well. Here is what I was able to say or find from Ryan Flournoy. Really the only true offensive rookie minicamp guy there this year for the Cowboys. They went pretty heavy on defense and O-line. But here's what I found from Flournoy. First off, on Friday, he was able to interview with the voice of the star on Twitter, one of the Dallas Cowboys reporters. He said that he and I talked about several things, but what stood out for me was his admiration of Jerry Rice, who also hailed from a small school. Ryan Flournoy said what Jerry Rice did was motivate me to come from a small school and make an impact. I want to do that for small school guys who are coming after me. His work ethic and how he approached the game, that's how I want others to see me so that one day I can be compared to Jerry Rice down the road. He was then asked about his athleticism and how he expects to translate that into year one. He said, I want to win a Super Bowl, so I'm going to use all of my abilities. Again, couldn't find many highlights or anything from Dallas Cowboys minicamp, but again, more quotes and stuff. Supposedly at the end of rookie minicamps, Ryan Flournoy was the last person to leave, staying late to work on the jugs machine, just out there catching footballs late after practice, working on what he needs to work on. There's also reportedly that he's developed a pretty solid connection with Trey Lance, the backup quarterback. Not that that means too much, but it's just good to see him out there already developing connections with quarterbacks and running good routes, making good catches, staying late, working on the jugs machine, and, comparing himself to Jerry Rice in terms of work ethic. So that's my Ryan Flournoy propaganda there today. Solid enough mini camp. He's rocking the number 18, and he's, of course, still got the super, super work ethic going for him. So let's go Ryan Flournoy. Another player that had a good minicamp is Bo Nix. He actually had a really solid minicamp, as you'll see. We've got a lot to talk about here from quotes-wise. But Sean Payton gushed about Bo Nix. He said location of throws. He had 2 or 3 down-the-field throws today, and it's almost like watching a good golfer. Sometimes you watch his game over 2 years, and there's a patience to how he plays. The ball comes out, and I don't want to use the term boring, but pretty good decisions with each play. The efficiency with how he's operating and all of that. It's been exactly what we saw. The only thing I can think about that was a little bit of a surprise was just how much bigger he is. He's bigger than I expected, but nothing surprising over the last 2 days. He's doing really well. Bo Nix then goes on to talk about this, and he says, I can't believe I get to wear a Broncos jersey and go out there and do what so many greats have done before me. I don't take this lightly, and I'm not going to take it for granted. Obviously, pressure gives you opportunities. So the more pressure and responsibility to have is the more that you have to go out there and consistently earn it. He joked and said that he wished he played golf the way that he plays quarterback. But all of this is just part of an operation and preparation to make it as simple as possible. You have to know where your eyes are supposed to go, know where your reads are. Get your eyes on them and go through it quickly. It's just prep and studying and being around coaches that are going to teach the same stuff over and over and over and just learning it all and going out there and doing it on the field. He says the key to digesting his growth into the NFL is all about studying the playbook. It's all about taking one play at a time. Master it. Make sure you know the fundamentals, the technique of the play, what the play caller's intent is. Essentially, they just want you to see what they see, go out there and execute it. It's my job as a quarterback to get the play started and get the ball where it's supposed to be. A lot of that's completing passes and the run game operation, and it could be a lot. But I feel like I'm being taught really well by the coaches. They're doing a really good job narrowing everything down and making it simple so I can go out there and process. Wow. I mean, let's talk about that for a second, guys. I know that that's a long-winded quote to talk about here, but Sean Payton gushing about him, and then Bo Nix giving probably the most professional quarterback-ish answers I've ever heard. Just how much he cares about every minute detail of a play is exactly what you want to hear from a quarterback. I know that a lot of people are out there saying that he's the most busty quarterback from this draft class. I don't see it. I don't see it at all. He has the best touchdown to interception ratio in college last year, threw for over 4,500 yards. And his best receiver was Troy Franklin, who we just saw have a really low a really bad combine and then dropped in draft day. Didn't get that high of draft capital, but he was doing all this with really no one at Oregon. And the fact that he understands systems so well is extremely, extremely important. So I'm very, very excited about Bo Nix, especially as you start to see him already connecting with Troy Franklin, his Oregon receiver at minicamp. Here's a little clip. I could only find a couple. This was the only one that was actually good. Here we go. Just a catch, literally, like it is exactly where you want it placed. They already have this connection together. I really, really love that the Broncos were able to pair him with a wide receiver he's already familiar with. I think that that's going to be perfect. So Troy Franklin had a solid mini camp, but a wide receiver, another surprising wide receiver standout that not many people were expecting was 6th round pick Devon Vele out of Utah. Sean Payton says this about him. He's made several plays in front of media, but then Sean Payton says he has good instincts and really, really good ball skills. In these 2 practice, he's looked better than I even thought possible for a guy his height. There are certain players that we talk about that we know are high traffic players, like forwards in basketball. They're going to be in, and there are certain players that are going to be the speed outside. So when we look at contested or congested catches in traffic, yards after catch, there are certain types of players who are going to play in the game. Vele is that player, and he's proven that at the college level that he's comfortable inside the numbers. Not to say that he can't play outside the numbers, but he's better inside. He went on to compare Vele to Tim Patrick, and said that he's a great player and says that he tries to model his game after all of the greats, and it's good to have someone that I can look up to and get under his wing. Devon Vele is also wearing Timothy Patrick's number 81, which has given him big confidence. And here is a clip from practice of Devon Vele. I hope I say it right. Here you go. Route, but just look how quickly he gets out of his break. Look at the footwork right there. Look at his cut at the end before catching it, and look how quickly he gets out of his catch. That's pretty sweet. Like it is, I know it's again against air and everything, but it's really, really good cutting, really, really good patience, really, really good change of direction, and really good burst after the catch. I mean, he breaks out of that so quickly and gets the speed. So Devon Vele is another surprising standout from rookie minicamp so far. Keep your eyes on Jalen Coker and Devon Vele throughout this offseason. Another player in camp we need to talk about is the Los Angeles Chargers rookie minicamp. And there's not much actually here on Ladd McConkey or Kamani Vidal. In fact, I couldn't really find anything on Vidal, which is kind of going to be the case with running backs anyway. It's not like they can really do too much without, the defense out there, without, much contact. But still, Brendan Rice, though. Brendan Rice, there's a lot of it out there. And of course, that's going to happen when you're Jerry Rice's son and you had a massive draft day fall. But here's what we know. Brendan Rice was asked about his draft day fall, and this is what he said. My dad was hot. The first words he said was time to go to work, he said. I'll be with you every step of the way. Now I'm going to be involved within all your workouts from now on, and we've got a lot of people to prove wrong. A lot of teams that go ahead. It's going to be one hell of a story, and that's all I'm going to say. Jim Harbaugh then went on to say that it was a no-brainer to take Brendan Rice and that the Chargers actually had 3rd, 4th round grade on him and were surprised that he was still available. Brendan Rice goes on to say, I'm in the best position possible to go ahead and make my mark and make my own legacy. I'm going from Caleb Williams to Justin Herbert, and I'm in a room that's going to allow me to compete day in and day out. Everything's on me. If you guys don't see me coming out on the fall, that's me. If you guys see me out there, then I put in the necessary work and put my best foot in the door to go out there and produce. If as far as rookie seasons in the NFL go compared to my father, I feel as though we're neck and neck. I'm faster, and his rookie season in the NFL wasn't that good. Brendan Rice says that without a doubt, he's confident that he can compete for a spot in the Chargers rotation as a rookie. My work ethic will separate myself. There are a lot of great guys in the room, and we have a lot of different body types. But if I can go do the little things each day in and out, go ahead and prove myself that I can know the playbook like the back of my hand and be attentive and do the extra little things, I think that'll continue to separate myself within this room. Again, Really great stuff. It's just talk at the end of the day, unless he can back it up. But knowing that he's Jerry Rice's son, and Jerry Rice is saying that it's time to go to work and I'm going to be involved with your workouts, every single one from now on, and that we have a lot of people to prove wrong, that's pretty exciting. I got to say that would definitely fire me up if I'm Brendan Rice. And I got to say that the Chargers, probably seeing Jerry Rice out there with every practice, those wide receivers will probably pick up on some stuff as well. I think that that's good news. Obviously he's not going to say, I'm so sad. I fell so far in the draft. I've lost all my confidence. I'm not going to compete. But he sounds like Jerry Rice out there. Like those are Jerry Rice's son's words, bar none, right? So to hear that strong work ethic, to hear that confidence, that's exactly what you want to hear as we progress through these rookie mini camps. Again, keep your eye on Brendan Rice. Now, I said that there wasn't a lot about Ladd McConkey, but I could find one clip. Here we go. Here's a little clip of Ladd McConkey making a catch. Now, I got to say, this is the most boring highlight in the world, and it doesn't show much. But as you can see, he is a little small, which is a little concerning. He's got a little bit of a height issue, a little bit of a size issue here. But we already knew that. We knew he's a small, undersized receiver with good hands and good route running skills. I will say that this route didn't look that good. I've seen him run much better routes, especially there at the Senior Bowl. He took a little bit too long, in my opinion, to slow down right there. Instead of stopping on a dime, he stopped on a quarter before making that catch. And he looks, again, really, really small. But we already knew that. So I'm not going to overreact here. I see a lot of people on Twitter overreacting to that clip. It's not that bad. He's still a good receiver. But we do have the health concerns. I mean, he's never had a fully healthy season at UGA. So again, I say I've been out on Ladd McConkey at his ADP. I just can't do it. I think he's going to be fine. I'm definitely not going to overreact here. Again, I think he's going to be good and produce. I just don't see much ceiling for this player, if I'm going to be completely honest. But McConkey talked about his practice, and he said on Friday he was trying to slow things down. At the end of the day, football is football. It's a new place, new uniform, new football, a new team, new people, and all that. But I still have to go out there, run routes, catch the ball, and block. I want to get in a routine, get in a rhythm, and get going. Now that we're here, we're getting into that process now. So not like the greatest news on Ladd McConkey from this camp, but not bad either. I mean, he obviously catches that ball. It's an okay route. He just looks a little bit smaller than people were hoping for. I'm not going to lie. He looked pretty tiny there. And it wasn't the greatest route in the world, but I've seen him run better routes, and this is just practice at the end of the day. So we'll keep our eye on him as well, but I would like to see something a bit more exciting from him. The next player I want to talk about here is the Dolphins rookie minicamp, and it's Jaylen Wright. Here's a clip from Jaylen Wright looking explosive as hell. So it's, just a little clip, and they can't really tackle or anything like that, but still you can see everything here. Like, you see the vision with a cutback, double cutback, 2 cutbacks into the inside before breaking through the middle of the defense and exploding down the middle. Really, really good patience and explosion shown here on this run. Again, very excited about this landing spot for Jaylen Wright. I think that it only means good things for the Dolphins offense as a whole, but I really do think that all 3 running backs in this offense can stay healthy and produce. I think it's going to be very, very exciting. Jaylen Wright talked about that as well. Being here with all these guys, star players that I grew up watching, it just means a lot. Just to be mentioned, and the factor of having speed means a lot to me. I'm blessed to be here and excited for what's coming for me. Both of those running backs are really good guys and great players. I'm excited to be able to share the rock with them. I'm excited to be the trio that will be out there making a lot of plays this summer, fall, and season. Jaylen Wright is confident that McDaniel will use him in ways that best accentuate his skills. He saw it in the opportunities the head coach provided Achane and Mostert in 23, and during the film study that he's conducted. It has the more the merrier mindset. It tells me that McDaniel has a lot of trust in his guys. It tells me when he's drafting somebody, he's doing it for a reason. I feel like I'm somebody that he trusts, and I'm ready to prove my point on the field and gain that trust, not only from the coaches, but from my teammates as well. I'm really excited to make big plays. I like to see my other guys eat and get the ball. We're all going to be eating. And I feel like that's the same way here. I feel like whoever gets on the field is going to make big plays. I like it. 3 great backs. That's really good to have. So Jaylen Wright's echoing my thoughts. I really do think that we're going to have a really great cycle of running backs here on the Miami Dolphins. Jaylen Wright's got the explosion and the speed and the confidence and the aura and the production and everything really to be a good running back in this system. I'm not sure why he's been faded so far, to be completely honest with you guys. I still have him as my rookie running back 3. I've got Jonathan Brooks, Trey Benson, Jaylen Wright. As the Podfather said, this is not a contingent upside pick. Drafting Jaylen Wright is a pure upside pick. He has potential even without injuries falling his way. This is a rotational backfield. Everyone's going to have the chance to make some explosive plays. And Jaylen Wright is the one that weighs the most and is the tallest out of this bunch, which should usually project to more health. Draft Jaylen Wright everywhere you can. Another running back to talk about is Trey Benson. And there are no clips here from Arizona Cardinals rookie minicamp. In fact, it seems that Arizona Cardinals rookie minicamp is basically a toddler camp. It really doesn't seem much is going on, which is fair. It seems more to be walk-through based, which I think actually makes a little bit of sense, especially since you're in Arizona and it's so goddamn hot. But as we know from this camp, first, there's not much going on with Marvin Harrison Jr. In fact, this was the only clip I could find. Check this out. And really, it's just him in shorts and a t-shirt catching the ball. And it seems that he really just stayed the whole camp doing stuff like this, working with their offensive coordinator and wide receivers coach, and just kind of making literally this, like just standing there in shorts and a t-shirt, getting some catches, talking with the coaches. Nothing special or unique from the rookie minicamp on the Arizona Cardinals. Trey Benson as well couldn't find any clips or anything, but he did interview well, and this is what he said. He talked about Forrest Gump a lot. This is what he said. Trey Benson, once I get to the second level, my teammates used to call me Forrest Gump. That's all I'm thinking about. Second level, once I get to the second level, Forrest Gump. Don't get caught, just run. Hit your head on the goalpost. Run the rock. I can't say anything more than that. Just get the ball to the running backs because we do everything on the football field. We're hybrids. We block, we catch, we run. I'm looking forward to this offense for sure. So yeah, and he talked about knowing that he was going to get drafted. I knew it was going to happen, just didn't know when. Just kept my faith in God, put my head down, and got to work. I came all this way from Mississippi, and it's hard to make it out of Mississippi. So Trey Benson fired up as well. Talking about Forrest Gump, love hearing the once you get to the second level, don't get caught, just run. Hit your head on the goalpost. I love that mentality for a running back. I'm very excited to see what he can do in Arizona. As we know, James Conner has never had a healthy season, has had an injury every single year in the league. He's, of course, been highly productive when out there, but there is going to be a time for Trey Benson to take over this backfield this year. Draft him while you still can. I think he's going to be awesome. The next rookie minicamp. The Bills, the Buffalo Bills. And believe it or not, there's actually not a lot to talk about here with Keon Coleman. But here's what we got. Keon Coleman said that he had a bunch of jitters getting out there. It's exciting. The moment gets downplayed because the process is so long. But once I grabbed the helmet and put it on, it shook me back to real life. This is reality now. For most of the weekend, Keon Coleman didn't do too much. He stayed with offensive coordinator Joe Brady most of the weekend, working on some random things with him. But here is one clip from Keon Coleman. Check this out. And if you want to, go check out Sal Sports on Twitter. He's got a whole thread of Keon Coleman highlights, but here's just the first one. I will say it's a little bit of a slow break, but I think that's the point of this drill because he does show some pretty good acceleration once he gets out of the break a little bit here, but he stays at the line a little long. But that, I think that's just kind of the purpose of that drill, to be honest. But he makes a good catch, has some good explosion. Keon Coleman looking good, being the agent zero that we're hoping for. Another player that we need to talk about from the Bills minicamp is Frank Gore Jr. He has talked about getting picked so late and being undrafted, actually. Being undrafted, this is what he said. It pushed me a lot. I feel like there's no way 257 people were better than me, but now the process is over. I'm a Bill. I'm here to compete, and I'm here to push my teammates and push the running back room to try to get on special teams. He says that the fall led him to Buffalo, where he and his father hoped that he'd end up, actually. He said that they had been praying and hoping that it would all come down to Buffalo because that's where Frank Gore ended his career. He said it was relieving knowing that my dad wanted me to be here, knowing that I wanted to be here. When I met the running back coach over the process, I got the vibe that he's the type of coach that I like and can help me become the best player that I could possibly be. I'm here now, and I'm here to prove people wrong. So another player with a chip on their shoulder is Frank Gore Jr., which is good news, obviously, but he does have opportunity. This Bills running back room has potential. We saw last year that they refused to use James Cook as a bell cow running back. And I know they used Ray Davis. It's going to be James Cook and Ray Davis, but Frank Gore has the potential to be RB3. And with injuries or anything, we could see an uptick in usage. And he is Frank Gore's son at the end of the day. He's going to keep his head down. He's going to work hard. And he's just going to be a nice between the tackles option for the Buffalo Bills. I'm sure he's going to work his way onto the roster and start for them next year. Or maybe not start, but be on the team for them next year and going forward. So keep your eye on that as well. Another camp to talk about is Atlanta Falcons. Not too much to talk about here, as of course we're not really expecting Michael Penix to actually play that much this season, but he did look good. Check out this clip on Twitter. This is his first throw. And there's a bunch of clips kind of like this. I've got to say, from watching Michael Penix clips, dude looks so good. He looks so good. He's got really, really good zip on the ball, a perfect spiral with almost every throw. And really, it seemed that the big issue was that there was just a lot of power on the ball. There's a lot of clips of wide receivers just not expecting the speed on that ball and dropping the pass, which is funny because these guys, of course, were working with some bad quarterbacks last year and the year before that. They're just not used to powerful throws, so they keep dropping his passes, but it's not like they're inaccurate. I mean, dude is dropping it in a bucket, zipping it into like the perfect spot every single time. I really do urge you guys to go watch the Michael Penix throws. He really does look like the truth. I see exactly why the Falcons made this pick, and I'm excited to see him eventually start. I'm definitely stashing Michael Penix where I can. Here's some stuff from interviews about him. Here's what he said about meeting Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins came up to me and said, "What's up, man?" He said he was happy to see me, happy to have me here. And then I told him that I can't wait to work with him. We're on the same team, so it's not hard to approach that relationship. We've got the same goals to win football games. It's definitely going to be great. I'm blessed to be able to be right here with a veteran in front of me to learn from him and go about my business each and every day, just trying to find ways to improve and get to where he is multiple years in the league. I feel like at this level in the NFL, everybody's in the spotlight. So you've got to prove yourself each and every day. It's something I've been dreaming of since I was a kid. And now that I'm here, I just want to continue to prove to myself each and every day that I'm not here just for myself, but for the team. And we're going to win football games in any way that I can. Whenever my time comes and my number is called, I've got to make sure I'm ready. I'm here now. I can't sit here and be starstruck anymore. I've got to produce. So Michael Penix, again, chip on his shoulder, looking good, comfortable with his landing spot, happy to learn from Kirk Cousins, and playing really well at these practices. Dude is zipping it. We've got a couple more practices to talk about here. The next one we'll talk about is the Giants. The New York Giants are out there with Malik Nabers. Here's a clip of Nabers. It's super grainy. Bear with me here, but check out this grab. For those of you listening on the podcast, it's a little bit of a drill. He goes through the cones, cuts out left, cuts right back in right. The ball is thrown behind him a little bit, so he uses his back hand to just snatch it out of the air, just like Odell Beckham, just like the former rookie that broke out on the New York Giants with amazing catches. Malik Nabers makes a sick one-handed grab right here. It's pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. Just grabs it out of air with strong hands. Looks pretty good. And that's exciting stuff. As we know from Malik Nabers, he already made the bet with Jayden Daniels on who will be Rookie of the Year, but he's also out there putting in the work. This is what Coach Brian Daboll had to say. He's athletic, he's quick, he's explosive, has very good hands, got good awareness and flexibility to play inside and outside. Now it's our job and it's his job to get ahead and start picking it all up. There's a lot to learn. And certainly we thought he's a really good player where we took him. So looking good at camp, making that sick grab. The head coach is excited about him. Another player at New York Giants training camp to keep your eye on is Theo Johnson. Not much stood out, from his performance here, but he was asked about, his potential role if Darren Waller does retire. And he said, "I'm super excited for whatever role I have this year. Whatever that looks like, I'm going to take it in full stride and I'm going to put my all into it." That's exactly basically what I heard from him. Actually, when I interviewed him at the Senior Bowl, I asked him specifically, what does he want to bring to the next level? What does he think he can prove to NFL teams? And his answer was opportunity. He said he just wants a chance to prove to NFL teams that he has what it takes. He says at Penn State, he was not given that opportunity, was not able to be a focal point of an offense or go out there and really be the receiver that he felt he could be. He hopes at the next level, he can do that. So he's going into an offense where he can do that. Daniel Bellinger ahead of him, but it could be a rotational thing. And he's not, actually at his size, he's a solid blocker, but he's just so explosive and a good receiver as well. I'm excited to see what could happen with Theo Johnson. And lastly, Billy Sandwiches, you came in at a great time. Any Rome Odunze news? I might have missed it. I don't know. The last camp we are talking about is the Chicago Bears. Here is some clips on Caleb Williams. Here are some clips, rather. Here we go. Looking good in that Peyton Manning 18. Where's his first throw? Rome Odunze. Where's his second throw? Oh, hey, that's Rome Odunze. Where do you think his third throw will go? I wonder. Holy shit, it's Rome Odunze again? That connection already blossoming. Rome Odunze and Caleb Williams, as expected. As you guys know, I have my takes out there. I have locked myself in. I am in take lock. I don't care. Rome Odunze is the Chicago Bears wide receiver one, outproduces DJ Moore and Keenan Allen next season. Calling it now. Been saying it for a couple weeks now. It's just too obvious. It just is. But here's some stuff. Offensive lineman Ahmed Dagier, I tried my best, has said that Caleb Williams already has a big presence in the locker room. He's a good leader and a person that works hard. He's always the first one in and the last one out. I know that he's here and always here, and I think that he's going to be a great leader for us on this team. Some other information. Williams and Odunze have already started to build their chemistry off campus, but the work that began Friday should hopefully accelerate the bond that the Bears hope will be the backbone of a narrative-changing era. Rome Odunze says there's definitely things you could build within a me and him relationship, but when considering the offense as a whole is installation and bits and pieces you're learning together and communicating together, as a wide receiver and quarterback, we've got to go out there and build chemistry. He can see where he wants to throw the ball depending on my speed and different things that I'm doing out there. And why, when it comes to installation, that's why we're here today. Williams and Odunze looked the part. Williams was on time and accurate with almost every pass during the 7-on-7 portion of the day, and that included 8 straight completions to Rome Odunze, who moved all around the field during day 1 of rookie minicamp. Even the reps that weren't flawless worked out in the new duo's favor. At one point during the 7-on-7 period, Odunze got jammed getting out of his break, which forced Williams to roll out of the pocket and buy time before hitting Odunze along the sideline for a gain of 18 to 20 yards. It's the type of off-script playmaking from Williams and ad-libbing from Odunze that the Bears hope to see on Sunday, even if it's not supposed to be featured in 7-on-7 work. The two Bear rookies briefly chatted after the rep about the route and timing before returning to a solid day of consistent, accurate work from Williams. On the day, Williams only had 3 incompletions. The first was a drop. The second was a drop. And the final incompletion was the product of a nice play by the corner, who reacted quickly to break up a quick out to the left. So, Caleb Williams excelling. The connection between Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze excelling. In fact, we're seeing ad-lib improv plays. I'm not saying improvisational. Improv plays from Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze. They're out there doing the whole break. Like, the play broke down, but Rome Odunze said, I'm just going to improv a route. And Caleb Williams said, I'm just going to improv to the outside and I'm going to find him. And that's what they did, guys. I'm telling you now, get Rome Odunze wherever you can, especially in best ball. The dude is such a value. He's going to be a stud. It's a friendship game. Like everything in life, it's a popularity contest. Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze are going to have a blossoming friendship, and it's just going to lead to targets after targets after targets after targets I'm loving it. I think it's going to be a very special connection. Those of you, there are plenty of teams out there in fantasy that were able to get the Caleb Williams, Odunze stack. And I've just got to say, congratulations to you guys, as it's going to be phenomenal. It sounds like they're killing it at rookie minicamp, and it sounds like this connection is only going to grow more and more. So let's go, Chicago Bears. Jeremy says, Roman's the man, will be number one on the team. The dude is and will be elite. Sorry, Moore and Allen. Couldn't have said it better myself, Jeremy. Thank you for the confirmation bias. The last thing I have for you guys is just to stay out. Keep your eyes peeled. The NFL schedule does release on Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern on NFL Network. They will be releasing the schedule. So we'll be talking about that on Thursday's episode for sure. But they have already released game one. The first game will, of course, be Thursday Night Football, September 5th. The Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Baltimore Ravens, an AFC Championship rematch. It's going to be very exciting. So go ahead and start drafting your Chiefs and Ravens so you can scratch that fantasy football itch even earlier, September 5th. Guys, let's check to see if we have any questions. I don't think I saw any, but let me go ahead and see. How was Bazooka Joe? Good arm. That seems to be it. Let me check Instagram as well, just real quick. Who would you draft 4th overall? It doesn't say Superflex or 1 QB, but if it's 1 QB, we're definitely going Odunze. And if it is Superflex, I mean, you've just got to take your pick of quarterback. If you want the floor, you go McCarthy. If you've got time to wait on the ceiling, you just go Drake Maye. But I'm still definitely McCarthy, Maye over Nabers. Even if you look good, I'm taking a quarterback in a Superflex league. So anyway, guys, here we go. Here's a question. Would you trade Kupp for Mitchell? Which Mitchell? Probably not. I can't think of a Mitchell I would trade Kupp for. I am a big Cooper Kupp guy, Chuka. I think it is very easily within the realm of outcomes for Cooper Kupp to outscore Puka Nacua and to still be the wide receiver 1 on the Rams. So I am holding on to Cooper Kupp as much as I can. Guys, that is everything I have for you for sure this time. Thank you so much for tuning in. This was another fun episode of Wake and Take, and you guys were an excellent audience as always. I will see you all tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern on the Player Profiler, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you can't tune in, make sure you subscribe to the podcast feed. You can find the link for the Wake and Take podcast in the description. Go subscribe to that today and get listening to the podcast form. You all have a magnificent Monday and a fantastic rest of your week. Peace.
Hey, I want to take a moment to thank you for tuning in. It's important to me that all of our media be free. This is only possible because of you allowing a true independent sports media enterprise to thrive unlike any other in the business. So please subscribe to the All In Package to continue to make all of this possible, to ensure that all of our stats, information, data, content is available to you, especially you, the people that get the site and get the show.